Wow. Wow. What an intro. Really well done. I'm losing it. This is really intense for me. 1998, class 98. Mahar Auditorium. My apologies, I skipped many a class in this place. But that's all good. So I want to reiterate just one thing. These guys have done the most unbelievable job. Nate, Kareem, Grant, everyone who is a part of this is, I can't believe it. I mean, I know we clapped, but we got to clap again. It's un-effing believable. Awesome. 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 You know, these guys, I think I was at a lunch here like 7 months ago, met you, Grant, and you guys cruised up to my office in Newburyport and said, we're going to do this TEDx thing. Like, I don't know if you could be part of it, that'd be awesome. And I was like, dude, I would love to be a part of it. I'm so in awe of what this has become, what this is, and the fact that I'm here today is just really, really cool for me. So thank you for letting me be part of it. I really appreciate it. They want me to tell my story. It's definitely been sort of an interesting one, and one that isn't lost on me. That it's worked out okay, but it wasn't always that clear to me that I was going to be, back here talking to you guys about, my successes in early stage media sales or internet startups, or by no means did I think that I would be in this position, but I'm stoked for it. And what I get to do now is spend my days working with some of Boston's most innovative and just sick startups. Whether or not I'm judging Mass Challenge or mentoring Techstars or Merrimack Valley Sandbox, or frankly, if it's a couple of the second and fourth companies I work with directly, I can tell you right now, right here, that Boston's tech scene is on fire. It's going to be a huge opportunity for all of you guys and me. I'm going to be there. You guys better be there. It's going to be huge. It's going to be hot. And it's going to be really, really good for everyone here. Frankly, a lot of that is due to the evolution of the internet itself. I feel as though the internet has sort of moved from more of a behavioral experience to one that's more transactional. And not in the transactional in the sense where you're buying more stuff on Netflix or Amazon or eBay. Sure, we're doing those things, but transactional in our ability to access information and knowledge and then act upon that information. I mean, the internet is just a sea of data. And I think technology companies these days have an obligation to increase chances of serendipity. Meaning, where am I going to have dinner tonight? What movie should I see? Where should I? Just all these different questions we have can be asked by technology and the internet. And, I'm stoked about it. You should be too. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll tell you this much, man. Like, back in the day, by no means do I think it was clear that this guy would be coming back to his alma mater and talking about his wild successes and whatever. No way. I'm pretty sure that's a hemp necklace. And I don't see them in the crowd anymore, thank God. It's funny, I showed my business partner, who's also a Facebook guy, this picture. Goes, dude, the only difference between you and him is a haircut. So, I don't know, whatever. This guy, I think this is 94 or 95, or maybe 96, I don't know when it was, but sometime around then. Anywho, a couple years later, I graduated from this university with 3 things. One was then girlfriend, now wife, Ashley. Honey? I told you I'd embarrass you. I'm not making you stand up. Enough easy. Anyways, thank God for her. Jesus. $900, like, I think half of that was like, the banks used to like give you money if you didn't have it, like debt, whatever. So anyways, I had like $200 in my pocket, no money, Ashley, and just an incredible, a crushing amount of anxiety about my future. I had no idea how to materialize any of the inert potential that I knew I had inside of myself. I knew that I could do something good, be something. I thought I could. I don't know why. It might have been a false positive, but I felt that, I didn't know how to materialize that. I was terrified. I was scared. I said I wouldn't swear. I'm sorry. I did. Same to you, Larry. Sorry. After I graduated school, I moved to Newport, Rhode Island, and hid there for, 8 or 9 months or so. I worked in a big boat. Figured this is a great place to be. Whatever it was, but it wasn't. So Ashley, one of the many times she's challenged me, and again, I thank God she does every day, she said, it's probably time for you to come back to Boston and figure your stuff out. I don't know. She was right. So the second I got back to Boston until this moment right now, I've acted differently, I've thought differently, And I've taken a very competitive nature I have with almost a near OCD ability to compartmentalize tasks, and I started to build value around specific goals. That's a mouthful, but it's absolutely true. I can't put it any other way than I had a picture of myself or who I wanted to become. That's all I could do, is just sort of envision myself. I thought, God, if I could somehow do one thing to work towards that, wouldn't that be fantastic? So I started to do that. And the first thing I needed was an environment for which I could prove to myself that I had, some sense of worth. I could do something. I could, make money. I could find some pride and, energy I put out there. And the first thing I needed was a job. So I took a job with Yellow Pages, Yellow Book. And Yellow Book was opening up the Metro West market and Boston market. Nothing sexy about it. It's Yellow Pages, it's Yellow Page sales. You're wearing a suit, it's like 23, whatever. Clean shaven, wearing a suit, carrying a bag, carrying a quota, that type of thing. And I would go up and down the street knocking on doors, selling Yellow Pages. We were a new book, like AT&T had the monopoly in the industry, and we're offering up people a different advertising platform. Yellow Pages is still a communication platform. Don't think it as anything differently than that, and access to that information is through flipping the page, not flipping the browser. So I loved that job. My favorite people to call on were pizza joints. Because pizza joints, if you got one of them, you'd get all of them. And they allocated nearly 100% of their media budget to Yellow Pages. At the time, there was no alternative, internet solution. So I knew that went in there. And I would go at lunch, because the assumption was, okay, if I go in at lunch, it's going to be busy, the owner will be there, and I can get his attention or her attention. And that's, what you need to do. The first thing you have to do in sales is, close the meeting. That assumption was correct. So the business owners were always there, but I would go at lunch. So as were the construction workers, like people that are off duty from, their office jobs. And if the construction workers are there, there's always like a handful of cops, because they're the ones that are like doing the trafficking around it, right? So it's jammed. It's packed. And I'd walk, I'd crash the front of the line and be like, hey, Steve King from Yellow Book, didn't know if the owner was here and to talk about Yellow Pages, how we're impacting the industry, yada, yada, yada. And without fail, they'd be like, yeah, no, now's not a good time. And be like, oh my God, no, I know that. I don't want to talk to you now. I just want to see if you had time either tomorrow at 9 or Tuesday at 10. And that's an alternate close. You have to whenever you go for the close, you have to shut up. So I'd say, tomorrow at 9, is that good? And I would just sit there quietly. It was just so quiet. It was quiet because everyone in the whole place was just staring at me. They were like, what are you doing? You just walked in, just some kid off the street, just trying to close a deal. Anyways, it was an amazing experience. After that, I became the #1 sales guy, and they gave me the opportunity to work the top 100 accounts, and I thrived, and I loved it. But I felt as though I needed a bigger canvas which to operate on. I needed a bigger canvas to prove to myself I could achieve bigger things, greater things, and frankly, I just wanted to make more money. So I got a job with a company that was acquired by Monster.com for about $50 million. And that was my first experience, which is an amazing one, of being with a small company that was acquired by a big company. And they wove us into the fabric of Monster, and we turned out to become what was the world's largest relocation and financial website, monstermoving.com, a lesser-known entity of Monster. But I loved it there. I thrived. I did very well, #1 guy. But it wasn't enough. I still felt as though the internet was moving in a different direction. I wanted to be a part of it. I was thinking very big at the time about, the internet, sort of where it was trending, my ambitions, and how I wanted to bump up against that trend. And so I was interviewing with Yahoo. I figured Yahoo's a great place to work, Whatever, so it's a multiple interview process at Yahoo, very difficult. They grind you, they slam you, whatever, they sort of beat you down. But I got to the final interview, and my headhunter said at the time, oh my God, you've done it. They're gonna offer you the job. It's the final interview, congratulations. And I was like, that's great, but I ended up taking a job with a little company called The Facebook. And she was like, worst mistake of your life. Worst mistake of your life. So it turns out it wasn't. I ended up being the 12th employee at Facebook, and the rest is sort of history. I have this up here just to remind myself of that, because that guy that had long hair used to look in the mirror and agonize over how he would become, amount to anything. And I keep this up every now and again, look, and I'll be like, holy 20th employee of Facebook. That, from where I was and where I came, to me was just an amazing achievement, one that, I'm psyched about. I'm not gonna lie. What do you want? I'm not going to spend too much time on Facebook. It was an amazing opportunity. Obviously, the one thing we had to do there was validate Facebook as a viable business model. Facebook obviously had tremendous amounts of scale and consumer attention to it. You know, I think when I got there, we're only still in about 200 universities, but you know, we needed to prove that there was a monetization strategy that was viable. And we did that, and we gave Mark and Sean the ability to go out and raise money at a good valuation, and that sort of is where that ends. So after Facebook and prior to Second and Fourth, there was two companies, two startups. One was a company called Datomi, which ultimately sold to ValueClick for $295 million. And the other was Locomoda, a Cambridge-based startup. We raised 10 million, spent 15, so that's not gonna work. But what I do now is a dream come true. I work with one of my best friends, also a former Facebook guy, and we essentially are fostering, launching, and supporting early stage internet companies. And some of these are local, actually, here. So Buggle is a travel company that's looking to revolutionize the way that you travel and gain access to travel information. Such a sick company, launching them in about 30 days. And Mojo is a tremendous technology company that's looking to change the way that people find alternative forms of efficient heating solutions for their home. Not very sexy, but gonna be sick. City Sprout is one that's based in Northampton, right up the road. They have an office in, They have an office in Brooklyn as well. Block Avenue, you know, Awesome.me, all these companies are really doing amazing things, and I think they're working as hard as they can towards fulfilling that, you know, serendipitous moment of discovery and finding things to the internet that otherwise you wouldn't find. And the thing about these guys is that they all are going to need really smart, tenacious, hardworking, driven, you know, they need college grads is what they really need. And, you know, I don't know about you, but there's really one place that I think that they're going to find a lot of that talent, and it's UMassAmherst. I have nothing against Harvard. I have nothing against MIT. Yeah. Jesus. Do you believe in yourself or don't you? Holy shit. But I know you do. I'm joshing. But look, nothing against Harvard, MIT, Stanford, those guys. They don't have, you know, the market cornered on, you know, university-based cronyism. I think that, you know, we can develop, I know you like that. I know that we can develop a system here where, you know, we can build companies and we can launch things. We can think big about opportunities. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. And I'm honest to God, I'm living proof of that. And the difference between who I am today and who I was then was that I have an ability now to sort of take action. I mean, I couldn't move back then, you know? And I'm not saying everybody was going through the same thing that I was, but it was really paralyzing for me. I was terrified of my future. I didn't know what to do, what direction to take. And I think just through, you know, thinking big and acting big in the right way, in a productive way, I found a way to make it happen. And I really look forward and hope that, you know, we can start building this together. So, cheers.